On me.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another fantastic episode of Let's Talk. I'm your guest, none other than Jack Emanuel Sr. Thank you guys for tuning in. But before I introduce you to my guest, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this video, and leave me a comment down below. Today I got a special guest with me. Young man who played sports, played football at Palm Beach Lakes, and went on to Hampton University, attended HBCU. So today on Let's Talk, we're going to talk HBCU. So welcome, Arnsesio Rosado. Welcome, Arnsesio.
Hey, I'm just happy, be here with you, man. Been a very good impact for me, especially with sports, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I appreciate you taking your time out, man, and sitting and have this conversation with me. So now let's go starting back when you was at Palm Beach Lakes, and I'm pretty sure you was one of the top football players in Palm Beach County. Pretty sure you had multiple offers, but what made you choose Hampton University, HBCU?
Well, going back to my high school days, definitely, was one of the top players, not only on my team but in the whole city, and South Florida, one of the biggest areas for football in the whole country. And at that time, I had a lot of big D1A schools looking at me, likes of University of Florida, Miami, Notre Dame, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa. Multiple schools was looking at me, but unfortunately, none of them really took their shot at me. The one school that was going to take their shot at me was Florida Atlantic, which is right down the street from me over there in Boca Raton. And but the head coach for FAU at that time his name was Coach Partridge. During the middle of my senior year, he had got fired, and that kind of like really kind of in a way messed with my recruiting, in a way kind of like messed with my thoughts and my vision, my future in terms of football. And that I was like, man, FAU, that would have been real nice. My family, everybody could come see me play big time D1 football and hopefully get a big shot at the next level. But God has a plan for everybody, and Hampton University opened their doors for me, and that was probably my best offer at that time. So that's why I decided, all right, I'm gonna go to Hampton University.
So now, did you, growing up in the state of Florida, playing here in the state of Florida, did you have any other offers from schools like Florida A&M University or Bethune-Cookman? Do you have any offers from those schools?
Unfortunately, no, I didn't. Surprisingly, even when I think back on it too, I'm like, man, I'm kind of surprised. Those schools, really overlooked me, or maybe didn't look into me as much. Warner University, one of the smallest schools in the state of Florida, they had gave me an offer, and I believe a couple of my teammates from my senior year team ended up going there. But I feel like if I did choose to walk on at a Bethune-Cookman or a Florida A&M, I definitely would have earned me a scholarship there, because I think I fit as an offensive lineman what they would want.
Okay, okay. So now you leave Palm Beach Lakes, you leave Palm Beach County, and you wind up in Hampton, Virginia. Is that
Yes,
Norfolk or Hampton?
Hampton, Virginia.
Right, and Hampton is actually in Norfolk, isn't it? Norfolk,
Well,
Virginia.
it's so it's the two cities are separated by a bridge that's over the Norfolk water. That's why the bay. That's why it's called Battle of the Bay. But there's
Uh-huh.
a separates the two cities. Hampton is more southern. It's South Virginia. So you take that turnpike, you come right off, go in between that bridge, you could go from Norfolk and Hampton.
Okay. So now, leaving Palm Beach County, going to Virginia, and now you on this campus of HBCU, a historical Black college, and what was it like when you first got there as a freshman? Being coming from an integrated school, and then now going to a school that most of the students there are Black.
Well, for me, it was kind of definitely a new experience in a way of the culture and stuff like that, because most of the school where I'm from, Palm Beach County, sports is very it's a way of life, you know what I mean? From whole Palm Beach County, Belgrade, Pahokee, and Riviera Beach, and all around West Palm Beach, North Palm Beach, sports is very big. And most of the schools around here, football really runs, you know, you know, our way of life. And when I got to Hampton, it wasn't necessarily like their main front. It was one of, but it wasn't really the main front. Going to HBCU, I got introduced to Greek life, networking, different things, different people, entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers that I had never seen before, that I ended up seeing. And it was kind of new for me because I had never really been around that stuff before until I got there.
Okay. So now, coming in as a freshman, like most freshmen have this thinking that, I was successful in high school, I'm having this success, so I'm gonna just go to my next journey, like you went to Hampton, and I'm gonna continue to have the success. I started for 3 years in high school, so I'm gonna go there and start right away. However, that wasn't the case when it came down to you at Hampton. So what were some of the things that you found to be challenging for you that maybe you didn't experience in high school, but you experienced once you got into college?
I believe that it was a lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes that I had no control over, because going into my freshman year at Hampton University, the coaching staff, I'm just talking about football, not school, but the coaching staff, most of them was on the hot seat. And when we didn't have a good enough season, we ended up going 6-5 that year. All the coaches left except for one. His name's Marcus Dixon. Now he's the head D-line coach for the Denver Broncos. Great guy. Much love to him. I hope the best for him. He was the only one that stayed. And then after that, a new coaching staff came in. So the coaches that recruited me, from Coach Mike Ketchum and my old line coach, Coach Ramseur, they all left. And they went their separate ways. And then that's when it started really hitting me, because there was a lot of stuff that I had no control over that, really started to affect me.
Now, like prior to you going to school, and you and I had quite a few conversations.
Definitely.
And me experiencing it, but I experienced it from being a basketball player and you being a football player. So how much of that I shared with you that you seen actually happen to you while you was as a freshman, while you was there at Hampton?
It was quite a bit, definitely quite a bit. From I remember we used to talk, and you was telling me, hey, when you going up here, going off to college, you gotta start off fresh. They're not gonna care about what you did in high school, or your highlight film and how many schools was offering you and nothing like that. You about to meet a whole bunch of guys that you never seen before, different personalities, different, system and overall culture, from Virginia, from me being, born and raised here in South Florida, all the way to going out to South Virginia. And, me and you had a whole lot of conversations about that. And it definitely hit me, because most of the guys didn't really care how good I was. I had to prove myself, my freshman year, which I did. They was very impressed with how advanced I was and everything, you know, my footwork, my hands, my physicality. But you know, that's most of it definitely came to fruition from the conversations me and you had.
Now, after your freshman year, a lot of stuff was new. You know, you was trying to figure it out, and you was trying to figure it out, you know, on the go, as well as trying to adjust to academics because the academic requirement was just as strenuous, trying to, you know, make sure that, you know, you meet your academic requirements. Now, in addition to that, you kind of realize that once you get to college, this thing is not just something, an activity that you pick up. It's sort of like a job. It's like either you have practice, you have tutoring, you back at a meeting, you're getting up early in the morning, you got early morning condition, you got all these things. So now you've experienced that. Now you're coming into your sophomore year. So what kind of changes did you make to prepare yourself for going into your sophomore year?
So I think most of the family know that I had some academic issues. You know, a lot of HBCUs, especially Hampton itself, they're not the most organized when it comes to students having, you know, all their academic things put in place for them. And you know, unfortunately, I was in a situation where one of the classes wasn't I wasn't put in the system for the classroom, so I couldn't do none of the work because, you know, in college most of the work is online. It's not like grade school where it's pen and paper. They want you to do type because now you get into a more professional way of your life. And so unfortunately I got put on academic probation. That definitely put a bad light with me in football and my and the coaches, and I think that kind of put a bad stigma on me. But you know, after that I had to, you know, went to summer school, got my grades up, got everything straightened out, and from then on I was one of best student athletes, not only on my team but in the whole school.
Okay. So now you're at HBCU. Now you on the field, you playing. Now you come out Saturdays, and now you walk into the stadium, and you see it rocking in there. You know, you got these two HBCU highly publicized bands are at it, and you got fans on both sides, and you know how it is at historical black colleges. Like, you know, it's like a concert during the game. They really rock it. So, what was that like for you at Hampton?
Hey, y'all turn that down for me a little bit. So that was also pretty new. Also, that was one of the new things I had experienced too when I had first seen it. Man, you know, like you said, it's almost like a concert. You know, you got the frats, everybody, the band going crazy before the game to the end of the game. You know, the most of the students, you know, they going crazy. Uh, you know, and then when your opponents, like the schools that we play, their bands are battling with our bands and everything, and you know, it's like a something that I really had never experienced before. And you know, when I seen that, it gave me a different feel to it. It wasn't just, oh, I got focused on the game and nothing like that. No, this is a whole new experience, a whole new you know, way of doing this sport. And what I do appreciate about it is that a lot of the fans, they were very welcoming, you know, because again, it's mostly black, you know, mostly black athletes, you know, competing against each other. And so, you know, even like the opposite fans would show love and, you know, would scream and chant, and the kids from local youth leagues and everything would come, and it was definitely fun. I definitely want to things that I like about that.
So now we look at the trends now. It's sort of like a trend that is happening, you know, and you see the success that Coach Deion Sanders is having over at Jackson State. You know, uh, being able to have the #1 player in the country, and now you can see more and more players even considering going to an HBCU. So, what will be your advice to a young man that may be looking at an HBCU and have other offers from other schools that are not HBCUs? What would be your advice to that young man as far as him kind of make a decision whether I should attend an HBCU or whether I should go to a Florida State, or one of those schools?
My advice to that young man would be to go where best fits you. Speaking on that, I'm glad you brought up the Deion Sanders situation. Shout out Prime Time. Um, I didn't appreciate how the media and a lot of college coaches like Nick Saban and the nation for D1A really came at him and his program, because they feel like, how's Jackson State, a small HBCU, getting all these top players and everything, and, there must be a lot of scandalous things going on behind the scenes, which in actuality is just the culture that Deion is building, and the way of things that he's creating to make a powerhouse. He's building something from the ground up. A lot of these D1A, these FBS Power 5 schools, they already have a lot. They have the funding, they have the history and everything all behind them, whereas these HBCUs, they don't really have that. Now, what gets me is not speak, a little deep. I'm getting deeper in this, is that we have all these big time Black players that are going to these PWIs, making these billions and billions and millions of dollars for these schools. Meanwhile, you have these HBCUs, which is historically Black. The same bloodline that you come from. These they went to HBCUs. They off the back of their they built that off their backs. That's where and your family really come from. You rather turn that down and go to a PWI where these schools already have it made. If we want to be honest, if you take all the Black players from these PWIs and they all chose to go to HBCUs, man, college sports would flip upside down. And I appreciate and I'm gonna support what Deion Sanders is doing, because he's really making a change, and he's going to change the narrative real soon. He got the #1 player out the nation. He turned down Alabama, Florida State, Florida, Miami, all these big D1A schools just to go to him. And another thing too is over 120 some odd players that are on the same level as Travis Hunter that weren't able to go to Jackson State due to they not have enough funding to take that many players. I think that over time, probably about next year or 2 years, man, I think Jackson State gonna be able to compete against the Floridas, the Nebraska, the Ohio States, if we being honest.
So now that you went to Hampton, you did your 4 years, you played, you got your degree, and now you're back home now, and you're working in the school system.
Right.
So if you look at your experience at Hampton University, at an HBCU, on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate your experience and why? You were rated either that high or rated that low?
But besides football, and we just talking about the school all in all, I'll give it maybe a 7 to an 8. Reason why I said, because, like I said, the HBCU, the Hampton, very prestigious, very well known, very beautiful part of Virginia. Nice small campus. Like I said, there was a lot of unorganized things, and that happens with smaller schools because, like, again, they don't have as many resources, sports and the school. It just doesn't have enough funding and everything to get and have everything as organized as the kids would want it. But the experience, man, the people you meet all around the nation, all around the world, the culture, the networking, the things you see, the opportunities that are open at schools like Hampton, is you can't really complain about it, can't really beat it. And the professors that I met, a lot of great, nice professors that really support the kids, that really want to see them do well. You know, they I heard a lot of times when I was over there that they really wasn't getting paid enough for the amount of hours and time that they was putting in to help these kids. They wasn't really getting paid enough. So that just shows how much love that they have. And I really appreciate that for them and all that they did for me.
Well, Arnsesio, man, thank you, man, for sitting down with us and sharing with us your experience of attending an HBCU, especially Hampton University. And man, it's just been a pleasure talking with you, and looking forward to having another conversation with you. Just talking about how things are going now since you graduated from college, and now you embarked on a career in the educational system, and how you're doing with that, and how the things that you learned from attending a historical Black college, how you are using that to impact the young students that you have in your classroom. So once again, Arnsesio, thank you for spending time with me on Let's Talk HBCU with Arnsesio Rosado, the big guy. Hey, Ness, appreciate it, man. Peace out.
I appreciate you for having me again. Can't wait to have another one with you.
Okay.
Everybody.
All right, Ness.
All right.